Hey everyone, and welcome to the Kathy Reisowitz Show. I am Kathy Reisowitz, and today I am joined by the beautiful and articulate Katy Khaos. Katy has a libertarian-themed YouTube channel, and we're going to talk to her today about anything that comes to our minds, but also specifically one of her videos specifically addressed to feminists. And as everyone knows, I am a libertarian feminist and very interested in people's views on feminism, and especially libertarians' views on feminism. So I'm super excited that she's joined me today. Katy, how are you doing?
I'm doing great. Thank you so much for having me on.
Absolutely. So tell us a little bit about your show.
Okay, well, I started it back late March, just kind of as an outlet to kind of organize my own opinions and thoughts. I really just do it as a hobby. I don't really plan on, taking it as like a career. I don't know. I'm jealous of the people that can do that, like we were talking about before. But it really just started out as me getting a new computer. First of all, you got to have the right tools. And I wanted to experiment with iMovie. And I had all these thoughts in my head. I use Twitter all the time as like my archive. I use it as a notepad whenever an idea strikes me, or, just a quote or an article, video, something like that. So I had all this stuff in my head, and I just started putting it together. I don't know, it's been going pretty well. My most popular video is my most status picture, which I really didn't expect to be that popular, but it blew up like the day that I put it online, and a lot of people really liked it, and it was more interactive. Like, people were sharing their own, photos from back when they were, a voter, or like neocon or liberal, you know what I mean? So it was fun. It was like a short video, so that did well. But I really just kind of talk about whatever comes to mind. Like, I've done a couple recent ones on men's rights, and then I did one on feminism, so I mix it up a little bit. And the feminism one, I talked about Katniss from the Hunger Games and how she's my favorite. I'm trying to think of what else I've done. I got a couple coming up. I am a little bit of a chemtrails activist, so I got one in the works. I just wrote all that out and compiled the research for that yesterday. So that's going to be coming out shortly. Just do a lot of funny stuff. Like, I did tax day jokes back in April. I did shit patriotic Americans say recently that kind of didn't go over as well as I expected. A lot of people got very angry. But it's just, it's interesting learning how to, like, compile a message that's important, but I try to always, like, have fun and keep it lighthearted with a sense of humor while doing it too. So it's like a learning process. I'm definitely very open. Like, I try to write back to a lot of comments on my channel, and like really take the feedback, not to heart, but if I get good constructive criticism, I really try to think of that, and it helps a lot. So I'm always very open-minded and reflective, and I think that helps you kind of get through doing something like this. But yeah, that's that.
I've definitely noticed as a content creator, and I've been writing for a really long time now, that you never know what's going to hit, what people are going to really enjoy and share, and what's going to speak to them. It's very, very hard to predict. But I do find that pieces about transition, especially intellectually and politically, really speak to people. People are very interested in how did you get from here to there, especially if it's a pretty broad, sweeping transition where you completely change your ideology and you completely reevaluate some things that you used to believe. So I'm not super surprised that my most status picture would do well. Tell us a little bit about your political transformation. I mean, I grew up very patriotic, very conservative, God and country kind of person, and now I'm an anarchist. So, I definitely understood the humor. I think it's tough because I like to deal with really touchy subjects with humor as well, but that's the whole deal, is that nationalism and patriotism are very, very emotional, touchy, not very rational subjects for a lot of people.
Yeah, so I basically was raised pretty apathetic. My parents really didn't have a lot of strong political beliefs. My dad was always a thinker. He was very philosophically inclined. We would have, good, deep porch discussions. He actually died a couple years ago, so that's kind of, a bummer that that's a big bummer that I'm not able to talk about these things with him. But yeah, and then college, I was asleep the whole time. And it really wasn't until 2012 Ron Paul campaign came about that I really started getting into these ideas, which led to a lot of typing things into the internet, into Google, like, what does this mean? What does that mean? I've never heard of the non-aggression principle, and everything that he was talking about, I just really started researching, and that led to finding Amanda Billy Rock on YouTube. I just really liked her style. She did like very heartfelt, like vlog type videos in the beginning, back when she had like the yellow hair. So I really like that. And then that led to, Bark and Rose. It led to Adam Kokesh. I'm a fan of the Bad Quaker podcast, and just a lot of people I follow. School Sucks podcast, I really love that with Brett Finot, and just a whole lot of other YouTube artists and writers. I read some Rothbard, and I don't know. I feel like learning is a lot easier. Like when I'm driving to work, I have a little bit of a commute, so I just stick like an audiobook on or like a podcast. I wish I had more time to like actually sit down and read, but really it's just been the internet that has led to me thinking the way that I do now. So yeah, that's it.
Absolutely. I think that's a common journey that a lot of people take. I know mine's very similar. I discovered Ron Paul and then started reading and went down that whole liberty rabbit hole with Mises and Reason, and then eventually Rothbard. So let's get into your recent video. I obviously watched it with interest as a feminist, and two things kind of stuck out with me. The first was the issue about child support, which I think is really interesting. I was kind of on the fence about child support because I've been a feminist for a long time, and then had an instance in my life where someone very close to me started to have to pay child support for a baby that he did not want, was very clear about not wanting, and even had an agreement in place with his baby mama that would not be something that he would have to deal with, and it all seemed very unfair to me. And so I take issue with it, with child support requirements, I guess first as a libertarian, but then also as a feminist, because I think that the idea that that the father should have to pay is kind of rooted in some patriarchal values about gender roles, about how the woman is supposed to bear and take care of the child, and the man is supposed to be responsible for taking care of it financially, even when maybe that doesn't really make sense with the facts on the ground. So I'm curious about why you saw that as a feminist issue, and then also I did a quick search for the issue. I Googled feminist against child support, and two articles came up really quickly, one in salon.com and the other in partisans.org. So it does seem like I'm not alone in this and being a feminist against child support requirements. So I'm curious about your thinking about that.
Well, in my video, I kind of talk about like how, sometimes you make mistakes and, you sleep with someone, you get pregnant, and a woman is able to have an abortion, no questions asked, pro-choice, it's her right, rah-rah, all this stuff. But then if a man doesn't want to be a father for whatever reason, like, I hate to imagine this horrible scenario, but like if a woman maybe was lying to him about her birth control and that, oh yeah, I really am taking it, but then not, he might not want to be a father. And I'm not saying that that's a good option, being able to walk away financially and surrender all legal rights. I actually hate both options, like abortion. I really don't like that. I mean, at the same time, I don't support laws banning them, and I really don't think it's a good idea for the guy to be able to walk away. I wish there was more responsibility placed on the woman, like okay, yeah, you slept with someone that doesn't want to be a father and doesn't want to raise a kid with you. You made that choice, you made that decision. I would really like if they could just sit through 9 months of pregnancy and put it up for adoption, and then that way the kid can kind of, have a happy life, and the mom can move on after a short period of time. So, I don't know. I really don't. I, I don't like the idea of the dad being able to walk away and not pay and stuff like that, but the woman's able to have an abortion, so it's like, where's the balance? It's like feminists want equality for the good stuff, but then they have all these excuses and ways out that, they can kind of get out of their actions. Like, if a girl chose to sleep with a man that doesn't want to be a father, well, I don't know, that shouldn't be the kid's fault. They should really just put it up for adoption. I don't know if that makes sense. It was kind of all over the place.
Yeah, I'm very curious about how feminists are giving excuses or getting out of the situation. Can you expand on that a little bit?
Well, maybe not giving excuses, but like, they're able to have an abortion, and like, that's perfectly fine and acceptable. And I don't know, like, if they sleep with a man that doesn't want to be the father to their kid, like, that's a choice that they made. So, they shouldn't really be able to, I mean, they should just, at bare minimum, like, put up with the pregnancy for 9 months and then put the kid up for adoption. And then, there's lots of research out there that a kid that, has been adopted will be very well adjusted, have a great life, really no difference from kids that were in their biological family. So I don't know if that answers your question. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know if this is really, I guess, I don't know that encouraging adoption versus child support requirements, I don't think that's antithetical to or even in conflict with feminism in any way, shape, or form. I think feminists are definitely divided about child support requirements, and I don't think that there's like a feminist monolith about it, but there are feminists who are against child support requirements, and for well thought out logical reasons. So I guess I just wanted everyone to be aware of that. And that I'm one of them.
Yeah.
And that they exist on salon.com as well. So that's interesting. The other thing I wanted to talk to you about was you talked about corporal punishment and related that to feminism. So how do those two relate to you?
When did I talk about corporal punishment?
This in the same video about the child support. You talk about spanking.
Oh, okay, yeah, that's right. Yeah, so a lot of people were kind of confused why I didn't make the parallel argument, like, it's horrible if a man hits a woman, and I agree that it definitely is. So a lot of people were wondering why I didn't go that same route and kind of show the research on how often there's female on male violence within the home and with domestic violence. I kind of went the other way, and I said, we make all these excuses for women hitting children. Oh, they were raised that way. It's all she knows. That's what her mother did, and she turned out fine. And she's just parenting. It's no big deal. And a lot of people didn't see how those two went together, but I see them connected in, like, the family chain and, like, the cycle of violence. So, like, if a woman hits her baby boy early in life, and a lot of times it is the mother doing a lot of the raising and hitting early in life, then it's no surprise, like, that a man or that the boy grows up to be a little hostile towards women. Not saying that he should then hit them, but it is kind of interconnected. Like if the mother hits the child, the baby boy, and then he grows up wanting to hit the woman, like, they are interconnected. And I wish that all parents would not hit their kid, but whenever a woman does it, it's like no big deal. It's parenting. We make excuses, and I just don't think it should ever be allowable. There's much better ways to do it, like negotiation, and just, if you don't have it as an option, there's a lot better ways to kind of problem solve and discipline and teach your kid right from wrong and things like that. So I don't know, I kind of saw it as like a cycle of violence, and that those are interconnected, and yeah, I don't know.
Interesting. So do you see a lot of feminists excusing or calling for corporal punishment?
I mean, not, I guess on the internet, I can't think of, I'm trying to think of like specific occasions of when I've seen that, but just, I listen to a lot of Molyneux and just like he reads a lot of like responses that he gets. So, like, so I hear it from that. My Molyneux influences definitely shine through on a lot of my men's rights videos and feminist videos and stuff like that. So I wish I had more time to kind of look into it. I definitely want to. I want to, explore this topic a lot more. But and a lot of times, like when I make my videos, I feel like I need to do them longer because I kind of make them with the assumption that everybody has the same background knowledge and contextual experience, and I don't make them so that just anyone can watch them and understand what I'm talking about. I kind of go into it assuming like, oh yeah, they understand, they listen to them all too, they have a solid background knowledge and all this stuff. So that's something I definitely want to start doing.
Well, I would definitely never ever assume that Molyneux's crowd is feminist. In fact, I would always assume that anything that people, anything that anyone in his audience is saying is not in any way, shape, or form representative of any kind of feminism, because he's pretty.
Right. It's usually
pretty
like in the
misogynistic.
Like he gets, a lot of emails and stuff like that from people that say they're feminists and are feminists, I guess, modern feminists that are, very angry at a lot of the stuff, and they give them lots of excuses, like I said before, for hitting kids and stuff like that. So
that's interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I mean, I'm with you. I find it very difficult as a content creator to do that 101 stuff because I find it boring, I mean, I'm familiar with the basic ideas. I don't want to rehash them. I want to get straight into the finer details and the nitty-gritty and the debates, but I do find that it is very, very helpful when I do that 101 stuff. A good example for me was when I was placed on Austin Peterson's top 20 hottest libertarian women list, and my friend Gina Luttrell, she did like a roundup of opinions on it, and so it was like 2 paragraphs each for every Thoughts on Liberty writer at the site that she edits. Mm-hmm. And she wanted to get right into that, nitty-gritty of, okay, we all kind of understand what objectification is. This is how it is objectification, and this is how it isn't. But I thought, I asked her, I was like, I would do more of a 101 because most people are not going to be familiar with the ideas that you are using to evaluate this piece of writing. Mm-hmm. And so I just did it myself, and I was like, well, I'm going to do it. And so I went into gendered evaluations and objectification just from a very 101 perspective, and used that as kind of my hook or my angle, and it was really good. The response was very positive, and a lot of people were like, okay, now I know where you're coming from on this stuff. So it's definitely attention, and luckily with that I didn't find it boring to explain kind of the basics, because I did have that hook to use to address it. But I would definitely do a little bit of that, I mean, I think,
yeah,
if you wanted to do like this is the NAP, or how this current event explains what aggression means to me, or how the market works, or some of these fundamental issues, I think that there's definitely a market out there. So what do you have planned for your next couple of videos? How often do you publish?
I don't really have a set schedule. Like, I know some YouTube content creators do like every Wednesday or every day, they promise. But usually it's pretty consistent, like 1 a week, maybe sometimes more. The next one I'll probably put out before the chemtrails one, because that one's a little bit more in depth. That'll probably be longer. Is one about car sharing, and it's going to be called "Car Sharing is Not a Crime." So because in Philly they are cracking down on the UberX service, which basically just allows any driver to pick up passengers without like a commercially insured license. But I mean, they have car insurance, they have a valid driver's license, they've had to pass, you know, DMV background checks and stuff like that. Like, they're fine in that way. They just don't have the professional, they call them non-professional drivers, and ooh, rider safety is at risk, and oh no. So they're actually going to fine these Uber X drivers $1,000 a day if they don't stop, you know, picking up these passengers. And I don't know, like, my problem is, okay, yeah, maybe it might be a little riskier, but people are coming together and voluntarily agreeing to get in a car together and share rides. Who are they to tell us that we can't do that? Like, if we want to get into that and make that risky decision on our own, we should be allowed to. There should be no, you know, law enforcement making our decisions for us and protecting us from, like, the big bad world out there. So that'll definitely be the next video. Chemtrails, like I said, I don't know, I have a running list on my phone of ideas coming up for the future. I definitely do want to do more, you know, holistic, like 101 type idea videos, you know, because I think that's good for the beginner or whatever. And I'm definitely not, like, I want to spend more time studying feminism and reading feminist authors and bloggers and stuff like that. I'm not against them. I'm all for, you know, looking past gender lines and kind of, you know, having a society where it creates an equal opportunity for all. I just kind of, I don't know, I thought there were a lot of double standards, and men kind of get a lot of unwanted consequences, and females, I don't know, feminists, they get a lot of options out. I don't know. It's hard to explain, but I definitely do want to do some more thinking and writing and vlogging in that area. So look for more of that in the future. I'm trying to think what else. I want to do one where I kind of put together my list of favorite teachers, whether it be authors or people that make videos or like independent journalists, people that compile research. I have a couple, you know, people that I follow that do that really well. So just, you know, according to the different topics, put together my favorite people to learn from. So I think that'll be really instructive. A fun thing I wanted to do was kind of put together, like, I don't know if this has ever been done on YouTube before, but put together like a Anarchy or ANCAP trivia game and get like different quotes and sound bites and pictures and kind of like, you know, put together some kind of who said this, what show is this from, and stuff like that. So I don't know, that'll probably be way down the line, just something fun. But yeah, things like that are definitely coming up in the future. I'm excited. I'm definitely trying to stay positive and have a good attitude despite like some of the comments I get. It's a harsh world out there in digital internet lands, but I'm still having fun, so I'm gonna keep doing it.
That's awesome. I'm really glad to hear it. Yeah, I would definitely encourage you to look into it. I think feminism often gets treated kind of like Libertarian does in Salon.com, where people who have an agenda pick out the craziest and least useful representatives and ideas that come from feminism, and then kind of act like that's it, and that's the ideology, and that's what it has to offer. And, you know, just like libertarians understand that, you know, the craziest among us don't represent us, I think we need to be good thinkers and realize that the craziest feminists don't represent feminism. I also think it's really interesting from a, you know, we're supposed to be concerned about power, right? And we're supposed to understand that because of government, there is an elite that controls the financial system, that, you know, inoculates itself from competition, that creates laws that keep people in poverty, that criminalize poverty. You know, I think that the people who are in power are very, very benefited when the people who aren't in power fight each other, right? And so when you look at, you know, feminists or women, and you look at low-wage, low-skill men, and the fact that because of these banking regulations and because of the Federal Reserve and inflation and because of licensure laws and a million different, you know, cronyist policies that we have in place and corporatism, you know, they really don't have the opportunities that their dads had. You know, they're not getting the farm that their dad worked on to work on. They're not inheriting the business that he built. They're not working in the factory he worked at. And so I think the elites want them to look at, okay, well, it's a feminist fault.
Yeah.
You know, it's women's liberation.
And it's like pitting us against each other and
Exactly.
kind of
Exactly.
gender.
We're fighting to the side and down instead of fighting up. And so that's what just really hurts my heart about anti-feminism, is that it's just so sad.
Yeah.
So I would look into it, definitely. And I definitely think that the trivia idea is a great one. I think that would be a lot of fun. And people really love those lists where you can get a whole bunch of resources that you should check out in one place. Those are great ideas.
One of my favorite videos I made was just the basic what is agorism video, and I give like a whole lot of examples in different areas of, you know, different content creators. Like education agorism is huge right now. Just different like gardening resources and things like that, cryptocurrency experts. I throw their names out there, and it just has tons of resources, and I really like that one. But yeah, definitely looking forward to it. And what was I going to say? Oh, the way you explained it I watched your Anarchist interview with Jeff Berwick, and like the way you explained it really helped me understand like that, you know, there are certain things, there are issues, and you're not proposing using the state to solve them. Think of like nonviolent cooperative solutions, and just know that there are certain issues and topics, and let's come together and think of a peaceful way to either address them or think of alternative solutions. I thought that was really good, because that is the main problem. Just the state, they marry feminism, and you know, a lot of the feminists want the politicians to take care of them and give them this goodie and that goodie, and I don't really think that's a beneficial thing at all. So
absolutely,
I like the way you explained it.
Thank you so much for the kind words and for watching that, and I appreciate Jeff for having me on.
Yeah.
And I appreciate you coming on today. So where can people find your channel?
Okay, so it's youtube.com/Katy Khaos, Katy, and then chaos with a K. And then I'm also on Twitter a lot. That's just Katy_Khaos. And that's it for now. So just YouTube and Twitter. Also, if you want to check out some math tutorial videos, I have a couple of them up. I think I only have like 15. But that's just Katy calculate with a K. So if you need math help, or you know someone that needs some math help, you can go check out some of those. They're usually catered to like high school math topics, but I guess it depends on where you're at. Like at middle school, you know, you can definitely use them as well, depending on where you're at.
Girl, I definitely need math help. If I start studying for the GRE, I will be looking up Katy Calculate. Thank you so much. Thank you for coming on. Thank you guys for watching.
All right.
Check me out. I am Mondays, Wednesdays, Fridays, 30 minutes. Please like, comment, share, subscribe. See ya.